I can resolve that. I'm trying to simplify this.
Good afternoon. I'm meteorologist Ron Childers from the Action News 5 First Alert Weather Team. Just moments ago, National Weather Service issued a severe thunderstorm warning for Memphis and Shelby County. Ladies and gentlemen, this is day 2 of a 4-day stretch of severe storms in the Action News 5 coverage area, and this activity just now starting to fire up. So let's give you the info we've got going on right now. Severe thunderstorm warning. This is for Shelby, DeSoto, Fayette, and Marshall County. This is going to go until 2:45 this afternoon. We've also got flood warnings as well. Flooding has really been the biggest issue throughout the day today, but I do want to remind you we're under an enhanced risk for severe weather. So tornadoes, hail, all likely, as well as damaging wind today, but flooding continues to be a concern, and that's going to remain a concern well into the weekend. But as far as things go right now, let me clear this off. Let's give you a closer look at what's going on in the city of Memphis and Shelby County, and then we'll track some of these other storms that are moving on through the area right now. So with that said, let me hit the button here so I can zoom right into Shelby County. Let's show you what's happening. Here we go. We've got a pretty potent line right there. I want to check it out first for hail. Oftentimes the severe thunderstorm warning is issued because of a little hail activity, and right now I'm seeing it just under right around 1/4 inch in size. So maybe reaching the ground as pea-sized hail, but overall the real concern is going to be the threat for some strong wind. And as a matter of fact, I can even see it right here. Looks like we may have a little straight line wind going in this direction as we track this cell. So I'll tell you what, let me put the radar data back on here, and then let's put a track on it. Here we go. Show you where this is going to go over the next few minutes. And I do believe this is moving through at about 35 to 40 miles per hour. So with that, should get into Snowden Grove right around 213, then into Germantown, 223, Cordova. We'll move in at 227, Collierville 236, then into Piperton at 242, should get into Oakland at 251, Hayes 259, and Somerville 305. Again, a severe thunderstorm warning, but I want you to just use extreme caution with this because these storms can produce a tornado with little to no notice. I'll put this into motion for you. You see the general movement of it coming out of the east, moving out of the southwest, moving off to the east and northeast. And right now, a lot of rainfall in there as well. And that's going to contribute to the flooding aspect of this. And right inside the 240 loop, it's coming down at almost 2 inches per hour. Yeah, that's a lot of heavy rain. You get up around near Bartlett, it's coming down right around 1 inch per hour. DeSoto County near South Haven, right around 1.5 inches per hour. But look, the heavy rain extends all the way down into northern Mississippi, just east of the Mississippi River, but more activity coming in from behind. Meteorologist Eric Brill's with me right now. He's going to look at storm threats. Eric, what are you seeing with this system?
So, Ron, we have this storm. It's warned for the potential 60-mile-per-hour winds as well as quarter-sized hail here for portions of DeSoto, Marshall, Fayette, and Shelby counties, and it is moving to the northeast per the National Weather Service at about 55 miles per hour. Now, we have certainly seen some pretty heavy rain here across the Mid-South, but we do want to keep an eye out here for the potential some strong winds here around the region. Looking at skits, and we were talking about this here all last night and early this morning, looking at some of the different numbers that pop up here. The storm top looks to be at about, we'll call it 32,000 feet as far as the vertical development of it. So that is a pretty tall storm. The BTI is at a 2.7 here, so at least that Barron Tornado Index number, it is relatively low here at that 2.7, but that is still something that we will continue to monitor here. If we put a track on this, as noted, it is moving to the east at about 55 miles per hour, and I want to show you that polygon here so you can see who is included within this. Let's see if we turn this on from here, moving to the east-northeast at about 55 miles per hour. We'll extend that off to the east here. Olive Branch, this is knocking on your door at 220. Germantown, 221. Collierville at 230. Piperton, 233. Oakland at 236. Rossville at 238. Somerville at 246. Moscow at 247. Williston, 249. And Grand Junction at 302. So those are the different towns and cities that we're keeping an eye on here. Put as many walls between yourself yourself in the outside world with that potential 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-sized hail. So, Ron, if there is any sort of good news within this, it's the fact that it is hitting those minimal severe thunderstorm thresholds, but we do have that tornado watch for the Mid-South, too.
Yes, we do. And as a matter of fact, we've got a good portion of the Action News 5 coverage area included in it, primarily along and south of the 40 corridor. It does include Memphis and Shelby County. This is going to go until 10 tonight. We're hopeful we're not going to be in for as long of a night as we had last night. But northern Mississippi, you're back in it, as well as areas south of 40 and areas that were hit hard last night by storms, especially around McNairy County, even into portions of Northern County from Tate on through Marshall, Benton counties, all under a tornado watch. But I also want to show you this, and Eric, this is pretty impressive and tells a pretty good story right now. 60 in Memphis. It's 81 in Oxford. It's 81 in Corinth. There is a lot of pent-up energy that still remains from yesterday from this storm system, and that is in place this afternoon, and we're going to see some of these storms start to move into that area. So a lot going on right now. Flooding is still the biggest concern, especially for areas north of the 40 corridor. As a matter of fact, forecast models still indicating the potential for a cumulative rainfall from yesterday through the weekend to possibly exceed 10 inches in many areas. And we're on track yesterday. I think we picked up just over 4 inches of rain at Memphis International, 2.5 inches of rain at Memphis International, excuse me. That was the official rainfall, but we were getting radar estimates of close to 4 inches of rain around many parts of Memphis and Shelby County. Right now, getting a lot of rain in Selmer. They are still cleaning up from a direct hit last night from a tornado, and we got a pretty significant little cell that's moving through there this afternoon. Fortunately, it is not severe. However, we are watching it closely, and I want to check it out for the potential for some hail, because we could see some hailers really start to develop as we get into the afternoon hours. And Eric, look at that. It's already got a 30,000 foot top on it. So that storm has a potential to really intensify very rapidly. So that's a look at what's going on in Selmer. Let's take a look back to the west of that area, and we'll take a look at these storms that are moving on through Tippah County near Ripley. I'm coming back to Memphis and Shelby County. And Eric, if you see something, let me know.
Copy.
But let's talk about rainfall rates, because flooding is still going to be a big issue in those counties too. A lot of rain fell in Tippah County last night, still coming down at about 1 inch per hour. We're looking at rainfall rates near 1 inch per hour just north and west of Corinth, right along Highway 72. But right now, the hot spot and the severe thunderstorm warning for Memphis, DeSoto, as well as entire Shelby County, or much of Shelby County, I should say. Let me put that back on there. So it does include the city of Memphis inside the 240 loop, Whitehaven, Parkway Village, Collierville, Germantown, Cordova. You're included in this. Most of DeSoto County and just a sliver of northern Marshall County right there along Highway 72 and into eastern Fayette County, or western Fayette County. So right now, severe thunderstorm warning, that is going to remain until 2:45 this afternoon. But Eric, I do believe we're going to start to see these storms really start to fire up, and especially in those areas where we saw little activity last night, early this morning, and that warm air still remains.
Agreed with that one, Ron. And the thing I want to keep an eye on right now, too, because I do think that flash flood threat, that is certainly something we have to keep an eye on here, maybe for some of the areas that don't necessarily have quite as high of a tornadic development chance here. So let's dive into it. Over into Shelby County and into northwestern DeSoto counties, where some of those rainfall totals have been thus far. Notice some of these purples that are on your screen here. These are radar estimated totals, so it's possible these could be a little overblown here, but hopefully this gives you a good idea how much rain has fallen up to this point. We're looking at about 6.3 inches into southern Crittenden County, into northern portions of Tunica County, about 6.5 inches, northern DeSoto County at about 6.5 inches, and just inside of the 240 loop here, about 6 inches worth of rain. So yet again, even if that's just a little bit overdone, the expectation is here that we have seen certainly quite a bit of rain here across the Mid-South, and a lot of that has occurred here over the past 12 hours. What you're seeing now are the rain totals here over the past 12 hours, roughly 2.5 to 3.5 inches of rain that has fallen here throughout most of the Memphis metro. As far as the severe thunderstorm warning is concerned, Ron, when we turn around and look at some of these skits, let's see if we have one here. Let me clear some of this stuff off here and put these back on. Don't think we have anything too impressive right now. The top of the storm's at about 8,000 feet, so not too terribly high, but it still has a heck of a lot of water and just rain embedded within it here. And it does have a BTI, or a Barron Tornado Index number, of 2.5, and that number is relatively low. National Weather Service saying that wind surge of up to 55 miles per hour is likely here in Germantown as well as Collierville rather shortly here. And if there's some sort of good news about that, it's the fact that 55-mile-per-hour winds are just below that threshold here with respect to severe thunderstorm. In order to have a severe thunderstorm, those winds need to be 58 miles per hour or greater. So this is right on that. It's teetering pretty much between being a strong sub-severe storm and a minimal severe storm here. The line that we are keeping an eye on right now, the reflectivity, or the Doppler radar here, it's almost a good way to see exactly where those strong winds will be. Notice that there's a little bit of a bowing segment here. You start to see this just to the north of Olive Branch starting to bow itself out. That's what we're talking about here for some of those strong winds that could be headed towards Germantown and Collierville. So if you know anybody that's along Winchester or 385 here, make sure they're in that safe place here with this severe thunderstorm warning that is in place here. So Ron, certainly going to be keeping an eye on that bowing segment here, and this is the first one that we are seeing for this afternoon.
Jagger's our director in the booth this afternoon. When you get a chance, can you, or when you're ready, can you pull up the Midtown camera? Also, I'd like to see the Olive Branch camera, if you guys can tap into that, because that bowing segment was right there around Olive Branch. So if you've got a shot of that, let's go ahead. I want to show you can take Midtown full. Let's go ahead and take that right now. Let me show you the heavy rain that's coming down. We've also got a lot of thunder, a lot of lightning out there. Nothing like we saw last night. At one point, as a matter of fact, we had more than 4,000 strikes of lightning on the first alert Doppler radar.
Within
right
a
over the
15-minute span, too.
Yeah, in a 15-minute span, 4,000 strikes of lightning. This is a look from Midtown right now. Look, the biggest concern today still remains for Memphis, and points north still remains the potential for flooding. That's going to create some big problems for us as we get into the remainder of the afternoon, the evening, and overnight hours, as rain is going to continue to just train over the area. But we're also under the tornado watch here in the city of Memphis, so we can't rule out some isolated supercells firing up. But again, I think that boundary that is just to our south and east is going to create the bigger problem. So folks in Corinth, I want you to stay weather aware today. Oxford, same for you, as well as really all of northern Mississippi. Now, if you have that Olive Branch camera, do you have that, Jack? You got Oxford? Let me see if I can switch, because I want to see what the wind looks like.
Hey,
I'm
Ron,
run over to my switcher over here. Eric, bear with me for 1 second.
Hey, Ron, let's flip it on over to one. While you're touching on that here, I'm going to have them take this camera that is along 302 right now. Where's this looking to be? The MDOT camera here. Yeah. This one's looking to be. This is over in South Haven right now that we're popping up on our screen here. Certainly have a lot of heavy rain, and you could see that camera jiggling around a little bit. And notice too, on the one side of the road over there, you do see that there's some wind-blown rain here. So definitely an indication we're seeing some pretty strong winds here into South Haven right now. National Weather Service also noting that the outbounds are kind of getting stronger with this here. So the wind threat might be starting to pick up here just a little bit here, Ron. So
that's why I want to see Olive Branch, because that little bowing segment, and look, this little area right here, right around Olive Branch, look at this. This is, you can also, Eric was pointing that out just moments ago, and there's a pretty significant bow in there. So, looks like, and look, it's even almost like there's a little peak of sunshine in there coming in from the east, maybe some breaks in the clouds there. But overall, just rainfall right now from that view. But as we go back to the first alert Doppler radar, let me show you what's going on in and around Oxford, Olive Branch this afternoon. I put the lightning back on here, and just on this display right here, we'll track it from DeSoto County up to around Germantown. We got about 102 strikes of lightning, but the area that we were really watching closely and paying some attention to is right here, and you can see that strong wind. It looks like it has now moved off to the east, but there may be a sudden gust of wind that could create some big issues. You could get 30, 40, 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts quickly out of this. And I noticed the severe thunderstorm warning looks like it has just changed a little bit as they've readjusted the polygon, I do believe.
So let's see. National Weather Service saying that they're continuing the severe thunderstorm warning with 1-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. It includes Shelby, Fayette, DeSoto and Marshall counties here. I agree with you. It looks like that has changed just a little bit here.
They shifted a little. Did it look like it shifted a little farther east? Or
just
was
a
that
smidge to the east. No, I agree with
Okay.
you. They did slow down the forward speed on this, Ron, though, ever
Right.
so slightly to northeast at 40 miles per hour.
All right, I think I'm tracking this at about 45 miles per hour, so I'm going to need to make an adjustment here in just a second. But right now, really the biggest concern with this is the potential for some hail, some gusty wind. Right now, the hail signature, not that impressive whatsoever. And as far as just taking a look at, let me throw the radar on here. Let's put the scope on as well and see if we can identify any little areas of intensity. I will tell you this, it looks like we may have a little strong wind right here just south of Poplar, in between Poplar and Lamar. That's coming through southeast Shelby County, Parkway Village, capable. You're right there in that area north of Olive Branch. So maybe some stronger winds coming into play right there. But right now, taking a look at the big picture, Shelby County under a severe thunderstorm warning. We have no other active warnings in the Action News 5 coverage area, but there are some pretty potent cells making their way across the Tennessee River this afternoon as that's moving on into middle Tennessee. Now, it is going to be another long afternoon and evening, I do believe, but it looks like this one could be more of a hit and miss situation with isolated supercells, high precipitation supercells, possibly dropping some big hail. Can't rule out the potential for tornadoes, but if we are going to see tornadoes, I really believe the greater threat for that is going to be right here where that that watch has been outlined. We are under an enhanced risk today, and it is a first alert weather day across the Mid-South as a result of another round of severe storms. And as I mentioned, this is the second of 4 rounds. We'll see some more tomorrow, widely scattered, I do believe, but still a threat nonetheless. And then Saturday, this whole system is going to make a push through, move on out of the area, and that should leave behind a calmer pattern to end the weekend and to start next week. But we still got a lot of activity to get through first. And right now, it's all about the rain that is moving through the Mid-South. So let's go back in once again. Let's put some more tracks on this and give you a better idea of what's happening. You see that general movement just kind of taking it off to the east. We'll keep a close eye on these storms back here to the west also. But right now, the main concern is what's going on over Shelby, DeSoto, Marshall, and Fayette counties. And you can see some pretty significant rainfall coming down there. It looks like we're trying to develop a little notch right there.
Agreed.
Can you see that little area right there? Let me check that out again on the scope. And these can develop very rapidly. So that's why we want you to treat this as you would a tornado warning, simply because there is a possibility that these storms could tornado very quickly with little to no notice. And that's one of the things about a severe thunderstorm warning is it can produce a tornado. But look at this little area right here, Eric. Looks like there's some kind of little notch, almost like a bookend vortice that we're seeing right there. Sometimes you'll get a little spin on the southern side of a bow echo and again on the northern portion of it. But right now, it's just a severe thunderstorm warning, no tornado warning associated with it, but something we want to watch closely. Let's check out the spectrum width too, because this is an indication of turbulence, and check it out. There's a lot of it, even down into southern DeSoto County, Tate County. You're getting some pretty strong winds right now as that's moving on through and pushing off to the east. So again, we're watching this closely. Eric, anything on there that catches your eye?
No, just, I mean, we certainly have some strong winds right now that are approaching kind of Germantown and Collierville right now near Winchester and 385. Meteorologist Patrick Ellis kind of pointing that out to me as maybe we're seeing some of those strongest winds right now. So if you know anybody that is traversing on 385 right now, if they're going from Collierville towards Memphis or maybe from Germantown over into northern Mississippi here, make sure they have that first alert and they are ready to go here as far as that goes. Some of those strongest winds right now really approaching 385 and pretty much South Germantown Road here right now. As far as some of those strong winds, how fast we are looking at those winds being, let's see, about 55 to, this is even indicating 70 plus mile per hour winds here right now. So those winds are at least, they're scooting along here pretty good right now, approaching Germantown. So,
hey, take a look at this 385 camera. We've
What you
got
got
a
with
live
that?
shot right now. This is 385 at Hickory Hill. Wow, lot of heavy rain over there in southeast Memphis. You see a tremendous amount, and that is coming down pretty good. The camera was shaking pretty good as well just moments ago, but right now that is a live look at 385 right there at Hickory Hill. So heavy rain, that's the biggest concern with this. And severe thunderstorm warning until 2:45 right now for Memphis, Shelby County, DeSoto County, Marshall County, northern Marshall County, mainly along Highway 72, and western Fayette County. But that's a look outside right now. Let me give you another view of our Midtown camera because it's amazing how the rain's kind of moving through very quickly, coming down really hard. Also got very loud out there as well, but now a little bit of a calmer pattern emerging briefly. But as we go back to our first alert Doppler radar, there's another line that's coming in back from the west. That's going to make its way into the Action News 5 coverage area in the coming hours or minutes, actually, as that continues to move on through. Fortunately, nothing else severe, and that's good. But as this moves in out of the southwest, remember, it's bringing some warmer air with it, and then it's going to make a push all the way to the east. But again, as it gets down here, that's into northeast Mississippi. That's where we're going to see a lot of instability that still remains. There's a tremendous amount of energy there. So some strong to severe storms will still be possible. We can't rule out the threat of additional tornadoes, but this one looks today like maybe it may be more of a hail event and a wind event as opposed to a tornado event overall. Thoughts on that, Eric?
Agreed on that one there, Ron. And
you got a pretty ominous looking shot there.
Agreed with that as well.
Yeah.
I think the strongest winds right now, they are starting to race on the northern side of Collierville, just north of 385 right now. So if you know anybody that's between 385 as well as 269 to the south of Eads, but to the north of Collierville, make sure they have that first alert and they are aware of some stronger storms that are headed in their general direction. Fortunately, it doesn't look like we have any sort of tornadic activity around right now, but I wouldn't be surprised if we do at least have some clouds that are rotating. And keep in mind, just because clouds are rotating doesn't necessarily mean we're going to see a funnel cloud or a tornado out of this, but at least there is some spin within the sky there.
What was that skit at again?
Yeah,
even
this
though
one
it's a little to the west of it?
So let's see. We have, unfortunately, this isn't popping up here as far as the BTR or anything like that. But that top is up to 31,000 feet. So that's a pretty tall storm that we have right now. There was a skit, Ron, just a couple of moments ago that was at about 8,000 feet. So I don't really think it grew 23,000 feet in the span of just a few minutes here. But at the least, we don't have that BTI number that's popping up here. And as a reminder,
I can definitely see that happening down in northeast Mississippi, though.
Yeah.
Some of those upward vertical velocities hitting that warmer air down to the south and east, that could create some big problems, and storms could really start to materialize quickly or intensify quickly as they're moving on in. But it's going to be interesting to watch this little area of activity right now that's moving on out of Tippah County, pushing into Alcorn County, where we've still got a lot of warm air that's in place down there. But right now, those storms seem to be behaving well, but a lot of rain nonetheless. Selmer, still taking it on the chin today, primarily with rainfall. We're going to be bringing reports from the area today from the damage from storms there. We also saw damage around Tate County last night, other parts of the Mid-South. Grand Junction even had trees down across roadways in the late night, early morning hours. But right now, it's all about the city of Memphis and Shelby County and the surrounding metro as a result of this severe thunderstorm warning that's in play. But fortunately, just rainfall right now. Let's check those rain rates once again as we take a little closer look. It's pretty heavy right there around Cordova and Germantown, coming down at almost 2.5 inches per hour. That is a lot of rain, and it's falling on a saturated ground. That means this is all just going to run off. That's going to lead to some significant flooding as it moves on through, followed by more waves of precipitation coming in behind it. So a lot of activity going on this afternoon, but right now the one severe thunderstorm warning is for DeSoto, Shelby, Fayette, and Marshall, as well as, and Fayette and Marshall County. So that's going to go again until 2:45. The flood warning that extends just to the east and south of that, well to the north for Crockett, Haywood, Lauderdale, and Tipton County. Now Fayette, Haywood, Lauderdale, Tipton County under a flash flood warning until 5:15. The afternoon commute could be very interesting as we see some flooded streets and major roadways that could create some big obstacles getting people home in regard to the heavier rainfall and the flooding that may occur as a result of that. But right now, I'm going to take a little slice of this storm, Eric, that's right here over Shelby County, because I wonder if there's a little suspended hail core in there bringing down the heavier precipitation. Don't see much of anything, but I'm going to try. Let's see. Here we go.
Yeah, maybe a little bit out east there. There you go. Yeah, pop it back up with Ron over there.
It looks, and it's very small for the most part.
Right.
This is translating really into heavier rainfall. So if there is some hail in the middle or upper levels of the cell, but it does have some pretty good height on it, right around 25, 30,000 feet. I am pretty close to the radar site, so it's kind of tough to see that. But right now, that is the one ugly cell we've got working. These cells back to the west, primarily just heavy rainmakers, but we do want to also keep a close eye on this one that's moving through Lee and Phillips counties. Let's go ahead and put a track on this. Tell you what, let me move it down to the south just a little bit, because I think the general movement of this storm, I'm going to put it into motion so I can give you a little better accurate track. So it's moving in that direction right there. That's going to come in behind this heavier rainfall. That's going to create the issues bring with it the possibility of additional flooding inside the city of Memphis. And to give you an idea of when that's going to get in here, let's put a track on it from the leading edge of the precipitation. We'll take it off to the north and east like this. West Helena, 245, just heavy rain, all right? Not a severe storm, but there is some thunder, some lightning in there. Hughes, 247, 307 into Horseshoe Lake. Should move into Tunica right around 312. Then into South Memphis, 331. Memphis, 341. And then into Bartlett, 349. And it'll get into Germantown right around 403.
And Ron, great eyeball on that here. National Weather Service noting that they're monitoring that specific cell right now in Phillips County for the potential of some mid-level circulation. So
I can see that.
Yeah.
You know what? And I didn't even check that out. Let's go ahead and take a look at what the velocities.
Hey, I do want to say too, National Weather Service saying that they're going to up the ante a little bit with the flash flood warning for the Memphis Metro to be a considerable one here. So
yeah, I could
not surprised.
I think that's a good call.
Yeah.
And you know, I said 2.5 inches over Memphis. That was as of 5 o'clock yesterday.
Right.
So we added on top of that last night. I haven't even looked at the total rain
I'd
totals.
say another 2
Matter
inches
of fact,
easily.
we got a little nap and we're back at it again today. So still just kind of catching up on some of the data from yesterday. But I do see a little bit of some broad scale rotation within this area that's moving through Phillips County right now. But I'm not seeing a tight couplet in there. But this little area right here just to the west of Helena, there may be some strong wind in that. So we'll continue to watch it and keep you updated on it. What about rainfall rates associated with that? Let's check it out, because just to the northern Phillips County, it's coming down at about 2.25 inches per hour. Were you about to pop in on something, Eric? I see a little, what is that down there around Collierville?
So that was more so, I was going to tell you about the rain totals, but we could dive into that just north of Collierville. So since midnight, essentially, there's been over about 2.5 inches of rain that has fallen over at the Memphis International Airport. So between today and yesterday, that means we're climbing over 4 inches worth of rain here. So, and especially too, with respect to the Memphis Metro, a lot of concrete there as far as the water and rain being able to drain itself out.
Yeah,
it's a little bit tougher.
Washes off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Runs off, as we say. But that was an interesting little echo you had there with the rain. You know, to the untrained eye, that may seem a little ominous.
Agreed.
You want to talk about that?
Sure. So just to the north of Collierville, the area that Ron's talking about here right now, this is just above and to the right of where it says Bailey. So we're looking at this area that's back over here. I don't want to say there could be a quick spin up, because that's a little exaggerative, but as far as if we were to see maybe some stronger winds and just kind of two different angles going against each other here, that's where you could start to see some turbulence within the sky here. Fortunately, we don't see anything that's Hey, Ron, I will start to note, as far as this little blob of green that's just to the south of Kirk here and to the north of Collierville, this is getting my attention here just a little bit as far as...
That's what I was... I was going to touch on that as well. I'm going to let you do it. I was checking out what National Weather Service is saying really quickly.
No worries. Yeah, you're good, man.
All right.
So when you start to see these areas that pop up here that are in blue, just to the south of Kirk, that is an indication that maybe there's at least something in the air. Not necessarily debris, but it could be just almost little hailstones that are possible, just inanimate objects, say like a twig or a branch or something like that. Doesn't mean that there's a tornado on the ground, but we are monitoring that specific spot right now. And this is northeast of Collierville and just east, and I mean just east of Highway 269. We take a little bit closer of a look right now. The area that is this white line here, pretty much right in the middle of your screen, that is 269 that we are keeping an eye on right now. And this area is just to the east here. So if you're in Kirk, let's see, we have Raleigh-LaGrange Road, around Kirk Road, over towards Join Way, over into Elba too. Chulahoma Road and Fisherville Road. Some of these areas, this is where you could be seeing some of your stronger winds right now with this given storm. And it looks like, Ron, I have a feeling you're about to say this too, with this cluster of showers and storms, there's a little bit of an outflow boundary just ahead of this.
Yeah.
That might be where we start to see a little bit of turbulence.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're absolutely right. And when Eric talks about an outflow boundary, as a matter of fact, can we put, let me just put your map behind me, because I'm going to draw on this quickly.
You want me to zoom it out a touch?
No, stay right there.
Okay.
Because there's so much moisture coming down, all right? So much rain coming down from the upper levels of the atmosphere, so it brings this column of air with it, and when it hits the ground, it just kind of spreads out, and then those winds can continue to spread out in advance of that main column of rain, giving a little uplift just outside to allow some additional showers and possibly even thunderstorms to develop. So we do want to watch this very closely over the coming minutes. But right now, that one severe thunderstorm warning is going to remain for about another 5 minutes. Not getting any word from the Weather Service as to whether or not they're going to extend that or not. But there's still a lot of lightning in there. Check that out. We don't issue severe thunderstorm warnings on lightning, but the lightning has upticked to 151 strikes. Yeah.
I actually just got a report from the National Weather Service for their preliminary ratings here for the a couple of those tornadoes from yesterday over in Selmer and Bay and Lake City. Do you want to talk about those right now?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so over in Bay and Lake City, this is into northeast or eastern portions of Craighead County, just to the east of Jonesboro. The preliminary rating is an EF3 with peak wind gust at 150 miles per hour. And keep in mind, this is a preliminary report. It's not necessarily set in stone. Over into Selmer, and this was one that Chief Meteorologist Ron Childers and myself, we are keeping a close eye on this as this did approach Selmer here early this morning.
That was the most ominous cell for our coverage area that we saw yesterday.
And that is coming in as an EF3 with 160 mile per hour winds as far as the preliminary data or the preliminary findings that they found here. So that Selmer storm, with respect to what the National Weather Service found, was actually stronger than the Bay and Lake City tornado.
Wow. Well, you, Patrick, and I were talking about how that area was just pummeled with one supercell after another. And what was the total supercells that came through there? 4 or 5?
Yeah.
I do believe.
I believe
one right after
5.
the other. It was the first one that did the damage to Selmer. And then successive storms followed along that same track. There was a little boundary that was set up right there. And so these storms were developing back here and then just kind of moving off to the east-northeast. But yes, Selmer took a direct hit from a tornado last night. There's extensive damage in that area. We do have reports of fatalities as a result of the storms from last night. Today, dealing with storms as well, but right now, fortunately, it is just rain with thunder and lightning. But I can guarantee you there are a whole lot of people in this area right here with storm anxiety today, and another enhanced risk and another first alert weather day for the entire Action News 5 coverage area. And Selmer under the tornado watch again today. That's going to remain until 10 o'clock tonight. That was issued right around 1 o'clock this afternoon. Memphis and Shelby County included in it as well. So we want everybody to keep their guard up and just stay weather aware. Make sure you have multiple ways to get warnings. The First Alert Weather app being the first and foremost. You can download that to your smartphone or tablet. It's free for Apple and Android products, and all you got to do is go to your app store and just search WMC. You'll find it right there. Or scan that QR code. We made it easy for you. So scan the QR code right there, right now, and you can get the First Alert Weather app. So any additional warnings that are issued, you get your First Alert right there on your phone or your tablet. Also, the weather radio, make sure you've got it plugged in and turned on and the volume up. Eric, what do you have for us?
So National Weather Service saying that they're going to allow the warning to expire here at 2:45 here. So now we have about a minute, let's call it a minute and a half left before this is set to expire. So good news there as far as that severe thunderstorm warning is concerned. But Ron, at least over the next, really until we get our next warning here, I think that focus is going to start to turn towards that flash flooding threat here, especially since we do have that considerable tag here around, and that includes Shelby County and really a lot of the heart of the Mid-South here as far as the population centers are concerned.
Absolutely. And look, while we still have some sunlight in the area, even though it is raining for most areas, I want you to take some time and clear the drains around your property. If you've got a street drain in your front yard, make sure it is free of debris, that water can flow freely. We're going to need to move all of this water, and a lot of it's going to be coming down through the remainder of the day into the overnight hours. We'll see some scattered activity tomorrow, but still could see some very heavy rainfall with individual cells that develop. And we're going to get another big push coming through on Saturday as this system finally makes a push to the east, and will move on out by early Sunday morning. We're going to talk more about that coming up on Action News 5 now at 3:30, and of course a better Memphis at 4 and 4:30. And Eric and I will be along at 5 and 6 this evening to talk more about what is occurring, what is coming our way, and to give you a first alert on these next 2 rounds that are coming right now. But in the meantime, tornado watch remains until 10 o'clock for Memphis, Shelby County, points along and south of the 40 corridor. You are under a tornado watch right now. Still have the severe thunderstorm warning. That's going to go for about another minute. But right now, it looks like it is just a heavy rainmaker. It is loud, that's for sure. There's still a lot of lightning in there, and there goes the warning. It is over 114 strikes of lightning in it, but we still have the flood warning that's going to remain for Fayette, Hardeman, Haywood, Madison. That's going to go until 7:30, and you can expect to see additional flood warnings issued as the afternoon goes on. As a matter of fact, another one just came up. Did you see that just as I clicked on that? So now we've got Crittenden, DeSoto, Marshall, and Shelby County. Considerable flood warning until 5:15 this afternoon. If you don't have to get out, I encourage you to stay home and just ride these storms out as they move on through. But if you do have to get out, allow extra time, use caution, and if you come to a flooded street or road, we always say, turn around, don't drown. You don't want to find yourself in trouble, and you can do that quickly in an environment like this. Eric, before we sign off, with the warning gone now, any final thoughts?
So keeping an eye on one storm that is in northeastern Phillips County near Helena, West Helena. That's moving on to the northeast here. If you are over not only in the county of Tunica, but the city of Tunica, this is headed in your direction. Fortunately, it is not severe right now, but it is one that we certainly will be keeping it on here because there is at least some broad rotation embedded here. But to recap, as far as the tornadoes that we did see yesterday, a pair of them over into Selmer, as well as Bay and Lake City, Arkansas here. The preliminary notes on that are that they are both EF3 tornadoes with 160-mile-per-hour winds for the Selmer tornado and 150-mile-per-hour winds for the Bay and Lake City tornado in eastern Craighead County here. And Ron, worthwhile to note that the Selmer rating here, in order to be an EF4, you need those winds to be, I believe it's 170 miles per hour. So it was a very strong EF3 at that.
Yeah, it was close,
Yeah.
Close indeed, and a lot of damage in that area. So coming up today on Action News 5, we'll have complete reports from all the areas that were hit. We'll talk more about what's coming our way tonight and look ahead to the end of the week and the weekend. We'll have your first alert starting at 4:30, so stay with Action News 5. And again, remember, it is a first alert weather day for the entire Action News 5 coverage area. For meteorologist Eric Brill, I'm meteorologist Ron Childers. We'll see you again at 3:30, hopefully not before.
The other places denied helping me. I called Morgan & Morgan, and they accepted me kind of like with open arms. I don't